Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the video. We are in episode 2 of Moroncraft Season 2. My name is Argent Sargent, and this gentleman with the funky facial hair right here is Chinpatchy. I love this house. I need to do something about where those vines are, but that's not really a problem. So, what have I been up to? I haven't actually been up to a lot on the server. Yes, very eloquent, much pronounced, genius. But I have finally made my way to the nether for the first time. I've got this nether quartz, which is going to help me a lot with some of the farms I want to make. I've got this very untidy looking patch of pumpkins and melons, and I think I'd like to make an automatic pumpkin and melon farm, as well as an automatic sugarcane farm and an automatic bamboo farm. I don't have any bamboo up, but there's loads of it in those chests. In the long term, I'd like to get an automatic kelp farm in as well, but I can consider that a secondary priority for the time being. So, let's try and figure out, on my own, without using any tutorials, how exactly this is going to work. So, I'm going to start putting stuff together, and I will let you know how I get on. Okay, yes, so we've got the sugarcane. We now have the melon and pumpkin. It's more pumpkin than it is melon at the moment because I have unfortunately run out of quartz. That's what it's called. Yes, aha. I also took the time to build a sugarcane farm. This is a bamboo farm. I built a bamboo farm. We got them going. We have the automatic farms in place. And that makes me very, very happy. But I tell you what, the more I look at that from over at this angle, the more I think, I've got to build another one. I want to build another house. So I think I'd like to get that done this episode. Or at least get a start on it. See you in a minute. Okay. So I have built this fairly convoluted, frankly, foundation base for the next building that I want to put here in my little village, and I really like it. It's given me some exciting ideas as to what I'm going to put here. It's going to be kind of like a it's going to be like an ale house, like a big pub, but I'm going to have this kind of wooden bit off the side here as an extension, possibly a single story one, while the main building is going to be 2 stories off of here. It's going to be a funny shape. I'm going to need to do it in conjunction with some terraforming because I've got this kind of ground floor balconette here that I really want to be a feature. So I'm going to do a little bit of terraforming around this edge, possibly taking it all the way back to here to kind of accommodate this tree on its own little edge there. And once that's built, I'm probably going to start thinking about building a bit of a lean-to in order to accommodate the pumpkin and melon farm. Whether or not that goes particularly well is a different question entirely. Got a little flower sticking out of my head. So now I'm ready to launch into the build. I've got my super duper shovel and you can barely see me for all the materials that are flying around. I'm feeling good. I'm ready. This is going to be great. Moroncraft Season 2 is... Unbelievable. That's a lot of dirt. That's a lot of dirt. This is okay. The shape's alright. It's not perfect. Well, also the surfacing isn't how I'm going to want it to be in the long run, but, you know, this is what we call niff, naff and trivia. The sort of stuff that we can worry about a little bit later on. Time being, I really need to make a start on this, and I'm worried. I'm worried that the pallets aren't going to line up, that I'm going to have too much grey here and too much brown here, and it's going to look disjointed and horrible. But unfortunately, there's no way through it but to do it. So, yeah, we better make a start. Let's do it. Come on. Come on. Now, the time-lapse probably hasn't picked it up, but I have died probably 20 to 30 times throughout the course of this build because I don't have Elytra or Elytra or whatever, and also I'm very bad at not dying while building things at a height. Before we get on to talking about the building, I just wanted to have a little bit of an update before I start the terraforming and tell you about something I've been working on in the background. Now, this and this is all the output from these 3 furnaces. If you guys aren't aware, you get XP for smelting items in the furnace. Now, I haven't taken anything out of these furnaces in a very, very long time. By my calculations at the moment, one sec, let me tab out and find that Excel sheet. This sheet was last modified on the 7th of November. That was 11 days ago. And at the time, I was expecting to get 7,000 XP per furnace, which is more than enough to reach level 30. So I'm not going to use these 2 on the right. I'm only going to use this one. I'm going to smelt a single item in it. And because it's going to be in this collection box and I can physically take it out, all of the XP that's stored inside this furnace will level me up. So, hopefully this works, otherwise it's going to be a massive flop and it'll be very embarrassing. And I'll also be kind of gutted. So, here we go. I'm level 3 at the moment, and take level 77. Whoa! It's night time. And now that I'm level 77, I need to do a very, very good job of not dying while I go and enchant my diamond shovel. Level 77, guys. In one furnace. Oh. I kind of want to do the other 2 just to see how it turns out, but I'm thinking about selling the levels to my fellow morons, because I think that would be, you know, a good idea. Could be a great way to generate some monies when we finally get round to starting an economy. There was one other thing I did during this episode of Moroncraft between sporadic moments working on the time-lapse, and that was move the villager breeder. It stopped working while it was in the middle of the other village, and so I took the 2 villagers up here, gave them a load of wheat, and got the thing running again. But the zombies got into it, so yeah, I can only imagine the horror that these 2 have had to live through, and the inconvenience that I'm going to have to deal with when I want to turn these guys back into plain old regular average Joes. But I think if I play my cards right, I could get some of those amazing zombie villager discounts. So that could be something that I do next episode. For the time being, I've sent a message out to my fellow morons to see whether or not any of them would like to buy 77 levels. And I'm already wearing my auctioneer's suit, as is appropriate. But back to business. Let's talk a little bit about the new building that I've put up today. As you come in from the side, you get the view of the scaffold I've left up. Nice. And you get to see that first house I've put up and the big guest house off to the side. And I'm already liking this. This is already pretty good. And I like the way they're framed against each other. You get that perpendicular setting. You see this nice kind of elevation up here. Yeah, no, I'm loving that. That's a nice little composition. I made sure to put a sign on the left that really grabs your attention. It says, "Oi," as in, "Oi, look at me. I'm a sign." But I appreciate that anybody else who's visiting the island might take a look at it and go, it says "Oi," like, "Oi, get off my land." And so it may not be very welcoming. So I think I need to come up with a better idea for a sign. It's all right. I like it. I'm loving it. And I really like the way these 2 buildings are sitting against each other. That elevation difference is actually making up a lot more of the appearance than I was expecting it to. In fact, it didn't even occur to me that it might form part of the look. But I do like the dip in between the 2. And it gives me an idea to just turn this big space out here into a nice large courtyard with a fountain in the middle of it and more buildings off in the background rather than just keep infilling this space. Did decide to cut off the great big box that I had at the front of the building. And the reason why I did that basically boils down to the idea that if you want to do something well, it looks better to do something simple effectively than it does to try and do something complicated and not execute it as well. Underneath here are the collection systems for the sugarcane and for the pumpkin and melon farms, which leads down into my mine here. So moving up this hillside to the left, which I think is going to need a little bit more development just to tie these pavings together, we have the sign, which up close is disproportionately large to the rest of the building. We have this entrance on the side, which is its nice kind of own standalone gable pitched roof on here. Nice double doors into the entrance. And against that entire wall that I infilled, we've got a couple of plant boxes just below the first floor windows. And on the ground floor, we've got some nice large windows, a small balconette, and a little bit of detailing to kind of ease that transition between the ground floor blockwork here and the first floor timber frame. We've got some fences just to frame that window in and add a little bit more variety to the facade. I do like the way I've kind of put those window jambs in using stone brick walls and not just left them as timber right up to the jamb. I've got these white infill panels to kind of call back to what I did over in that bell house over there. So we've got a nice plain and simple side entrance with a little bit of lighting leading up to it. And I've got a service entrance here to get me into the farm. As for the interior, I have done next to nothing. We have got a fireplace here on the ground floor. Moving up this very convoluted flight of stairs, we have another fireplace here on the first floor. And over here is the master suite. Well, it's just a bedroom, really. But what a bedroom it is. We've got this lovely fireplace centered in the middle of the room. We've got this huge view out over the rest of this area. And I can't wait to see what else is going to appear in this window over time. We've got these big roof lights that look straight up to the underside of the chimney and into the sky over that way. As for the roof, it's a lot simpler than the one on the bell house. It's not a complicated pitch. It's just a straight diagonal with spruce logs on the outside and spruce planks in the middle. It's really, really basic. But I think, even though it is so simple, it's been reasonably effective. I don't know whether or not I would do anything to change this. I think it's absolutely fine. There were so many times when I was working on this particular build that I was just thinking this is going to turn out absolutely rubbish. But I'm very, very glad I stuck with it. I was basically flat out on it for probably the best part of sort of 6 or 7 hours. And creatively, it's been a bit of a journey in spite of its, well, simplicity, I suppose. Yeah, I'm absolutely fine with that. I really am. But unfortunately, that's all we've got time for today. Next time, I'm going to be getting some of my friends on. We're going to do some collaboration. I don't know whether or not we're going to be raiding the Nether. I don't know whether or not I'm going to be able to seal the deal, selling them some insane numbers of levels. But this has been cracking, and it's really starting to pick up. I have been Argent Sargent, and you have been fantastic. Thank you so much, and I will catch you next time. Oh, I'm so happy with that. Bye-bye.